Hey, hello. Welcome to episode number 101 of the People We Love podcast. I am Adam Choit. What's up? If you are new here, what I do is interview people from all walks of life, most often comedians and other artists, about their lives and careers. The conversation is casual, but I also ask everyone to highlight someone they love, someone who they admire, who influenced them, inspired them, or supported them. Sometimes it's more than one person. But for more, check out peoplewelovepodcast.com. That's peoplewelovepodcast.com. And the Instagram handle is at peoplewelovepodcast. And you can find me on Instagram and Twitter as well, at Adam Choit, the same for both of those. And please remember to tap subscribe or follow on whatever platform you listen to podcasts on. And of course, 5-star positive reviews on iTunes are greatly appreciated as well. So, today's guest is comedian Jason Redlitz. This longtime action figure collector and former middle school basketball shot blocker tells me all about growing up in a large family where everybody's names start with the letter J. We also talk about how Jason loves doing bits and characters and is creating all sorts of content these days. And we not only chat about Jason's love for the legend Andy Kaufmann, but also for his talented brother, Red Jefferson, who's also a performer. And Jason and Red now work together on Two Cute Brothers, a Twitch show where they literally draw cute stories from current events in the news. But let's just get started. Here's Jason Redlitz. So it's good to see you today, Jason Redlitz. Thank you for joining me on the Zoom. I appreciate it.
I'm happy to be here. I'm just so grateful I don't have to talk to anybody else besides my roommates today. So I'm very blessed. Thank you so much.
Is it something? Oh, my pleasure. Is it something they did, or is it just it's just too much around them?
I just need some interaction. That's not that. And I love them. I live in the house full of entertainers, comedians. So it's nice, but it's good to talk to somebody that's not them.
Yeah,
I hope they don't hear that. But yeah,
I check off the anybody else but your roommates box. So I'm here to. I'm glad to help.
It's not much of a leap to not be that. It's not much of a hurdle, but you fit the bill right well. So,
but you've been good. But you've been holding up okay during the last year or so. In general, things have been all right.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of my roommates, I think I would have gone crazy anywhere else because I've moved. I've been here in LA for about 3 years or so, a little over 3 years, and if I had to pick any of the 3 places I lived in those 3 years, I'm so grateful that quarantine happened in this household because I probably would have gone insane, for lack of a better word. But I would have just hated it otherwise. I'm those people that are super loving, super creative, always keep me on my toes, yet also just always want to invent stuff and do stuff. And it makes the idea of quarantine more of a community than a lot of people actually get. So I'm very grateful for that. I live in a house. I live with people. I live with another family. It's like a family from a family. Yeah, I'm just very grateful for that. Yeah,
that's great. I'm grateful for a lot of things too. You know what you should do? When I finish interviewing you, you just take if you're on a laptop, you just carry it out into the next room and be like, oh, this guy's another comedian. She's an actor. He's a whatever. And I'll just I'll record a bunch in a row.
They won't be here. I don't know if they're going to be here. I'd love to do that. I'd give them the names though. You should definitely have them on there. Each and every one of them, amazing people, super talented.
I guess I'm half joke. I'm very open to meeting new people, of course, but literally doing that is crazy. And that was the joke for part.
No, sure. They would love it. They would embrace with open arms. So I just brought this down and then did a whole group call. Yeah.
Yeah. See, look at this I'm networking. This is how you network. You see,
that's how you network.
I'm doing it live not live, but live for me and you right here, right now. We're making it happen. But let's get into you, and you could tell me about where you grew up a little bit and some background about yourself. I was looking. I did a little bit of research. I couldn't find quite where you even grew up, born and raised, or anything like that. So we can start from there. And what about early memories, even before kindergarten? Sometimes people remember some things jump out.
Well, my origin is hidden on purpose. I'm kind of ashamed.
Are you from outer space or something like that? Are you
No, I wish. That's way more interesting. No, I'm from Franklin Lakes, New Jersey, which if you don't know the town specifically, you might know it from oh my gosh, what's the name of the show? The Housewives. What's the show on Bravo?
Jersey Shore, Housewives of Jersey Shore. How's it?
No, it's like the
Housewives
Housewives of New Jersey. Yeah. A lot of them are from Franklin Lakes. So whenever someone hears the term Franklin Lakes, they instantly think, oh, you're from the Housewives show. And interestingly enough, my mom was a pre-K aide for one of the kids of the moms in that show. So there is like a degree of separation between me and the show, but I don't like telling people that. I shouldn't tell that on a podcast. But yeah.
No, it's part of your story, man. Is this in your? Is this in your?
Yeah.
In your? Do you do this in your act or any sort of performance? Be like, yeah, I'm from this. Is there any material based around this that you do? Creative stuff?
No. Well, a lot of my material itself, we'll get to that later probably, but
Sure.
A lot of my material isn't really about me. Like I just mostly character stuff, so it's nothing truly about me. So I don't mention Jersey. There's a lot to talk about with Jersey. Sure, there's Sopranos, there's Jersey Shore, and there's the Housewives of New Jersey. That's pretty much all we got. And Bruce Springsteen, we got him too.
Yeah, I'm from Long Island, so I've heard of New Jersey, but you know, there's like rivers to get to it. It's like, come on, it's too far. It's another country. You guys have your own. You guys have your own bird. You have your own bird and flag. I thought that was Delaware.
I think every state's got their own bird.
There's more than one armpit. There's at least two armpits.
I've been told, I wish it was Delaware. I hope it's Delaware, but I've been told by several people on different accounts that Jersey is the armpit. So I just have to accept it that we're the armpit. We're not the boot. We're not anything. We're not the arm. We're just the armpit.
Yeah, I think it might smell bad in more than one place in this land, but it's not all bad. But anyway, so is that where you grew up from kindergarten to high school? Is that kind of
right? I'm born and raised in Jersey. I'm the youngest of 5, and we're all Jays. Even my parents. So it led to a lot of miscommunication issues with that for sure.
Why? You don't have the same name, do you?
No, but it goes, I'll read them off to you. It goes Joe Sr., Joan, Joe Jr., Jen, Jeffrey, Jackie, and then myself. And I've been told my name is Jackie by my dad several times because he just says a random J name, hope that he's saying the right one.
All families mess up names, but especially with all that's going to happen. A large family too.
Yeah. Well, I'm the youngest of 5, so I was the baby, but there were a lot of perks with that. For sure, I got away with a lot. I got to see like Cruel Intentions when I was like 3 or 4. So
yeah, at that point, parents don't give a fuck what you're doing.
No, they do not.
They're like whatever.
They do, no, really, because like it kind of is like you're off to your own devices. Because when you're the last kid, the siblings kind of help nurture you and like parent you too. And your parents are like, oh, we made so many as it is, like you'll be fine. Like it basically was I was taught and learned by like 5 or 6 people. So
yeah.
5 or 6 people. I have like 5 or 6 parents growing up. So it was
that good? Yeah,
also,
yeah. It was useful, but what? I'm sorry.
For sure. But I was also the baby, so I was also put as the baby. Like that's my position, which I'm fine with. Like I got away with quite a bit of stuff. Not that I was a bad kid, but I'm not upset by it at the least. My brother, actually, one of my brothers is you might know him, Red Jefferson. Do you know Red Jefferson? He's an amazing comic. He's out in LA as well. He actually was the reason I moved out here. He's my brother too. So a lot of people don't know that because he has a name change.
Right, I figured it out. I was listening, but I figured out what he did as you were talking, how he did that. Because his name is Jeff, and your real name is Redlitz. Then I think that name sounds familiar. I think one of the social media is like, you should friend or follow this dude. I'm like, who?
Well, you should.
I don't know if that's true, but yeah, probably.
He's all right. He's fine. But yeah, no. As being the baby, that's basically like it was a good childhood. I can't complain. In terms of first memories as a by kindergarten, let's see. It's not really kindergarten, but like it was pretty fairly young. I was really lucky. There was this bank called like Valley National Bank, and they had a grand opening just down the street from us. And they had this like giveaway for these kids, for the kids that came to the grand opening, because kids go to bank grand openings for some reason. And there was like this tower of toys giveaway where you put your name in and you'd win like this giant tower of all these like random crazy toys. And I think there was an Xbox in there and stuff. And it was up to a value of $1,000. And my brother and I won't say who for the sake of him not being outed, but we kept going back to that grand opening and kept putting random names in there with the same address, and we wound up winning. So like that, it was a moment of like you realize you could get away with stuff. You just put in random name. Like that's a dumb story. It's not that great of a story, but it was.
No, that's not a dumb story at all. That's I
power of toys. Can you believe it?
I hope you. Is there like a statute of limitations or whatever with this case that you're opening back up against yourself?
They will never know. I shouldn't put this on public record. I did not scam a bank out of $1,000. I did not do that, but I kind of did.
You just wanted the toys. You're just a kid.
I just wanted the toys. I was a kid. I was like 9, 10, 8 or 9. I'm not gonna make myself sound any older because that makes it sound worse. But I remember getting the call from my mom was at the grocery store, and I got a message on the answer machine saying this is for Valley National Bank looking for Jason. I was like, holy spit! Like this, like I won. Like, I had to have won. It was a week later. I had to have won. I wait for mom to get back home, and I run down the driveway saying, like, mom, you got to call the bank now. You have to call the bank. She thought it was something about foreclosing the house, but little did she know it was actually to win a grand prize of just a bunch of junk that's going to be lying around the house for 6 to 7 years later. There's a karaoke machine. I do remember the karaoke machine. That was a lot of fun, but those are kind of outdated now. Like karaoke machines.
Do you remember, speaking of being outdated, speaking of what I remember, do you remember on Nickelodeon they did something called a Super Toy Run? Maybe they still do it. I don't know if they still do it. It's like a contest, like you put your name into it and you send a postcard and they pick a winner, and basically you get like a minute or two to go through Toys R Us and just get everything you can as fast as you can. And I remember wanting to win that, like as a kid, like being like, does this all speak to our consumerism and our brainwashing of being consumers, or is it our desire to play and creative and just to like have as many toys and things that interest us as possible? Because we're all thinking about what toys we like. We're not really thinking about, I don't know, having the dollar value of the toy. We just want the things that are expensive because they're good.
Was it the show? What was the show? Market Sweep, Supermarket Sweep, or whatever, when they had to run with the grocery cart.
Right, something like that. I never watched those. Right? I guess so.
I think it was a matter of like, because we're capitalists and we just like consume. So the idea of just like going down an aisle and just literally putting your arm behind an aisle row and just pouring it into your cart, that's such an appealing yet like freeing power move to do that. Not worrying about the price. So I guess it is like a matter of like this consumerism in us. That's fascinating. Yeah, I would, as a kid, I can't imagine someone not wanting to do that. Speaking of, I'm not gonna get into it right now, but speaking of toys, I'm a big action figure enthusiast. So for any action figure enthusiasts out there, you're not alone. Action figures are great. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, when did that start? Because we talked to, I think, kindergarten. So like, what about elementary school? It's kind of going to ask what you're into, and like, where did you continue to fit in your family? Were you a good student at that point? Were you into sports, music, watching TV? Like what?
Definitely not sports until maybe middle school. And I didn't really like doing it anyway. I just did it because I was above average height and I can just stand around. But
that's what I would like to have been, man. Good.
Why?
I don't know. You're useful just by being.
They used to call me the Scarecrow. They used to call me Scarecrow because all I did was just stand with my arms up. I played basketball. All I did was just stand with my arms up and just like kind of wave around like a scarecrow. But I tried to get my name called Thanksgiving because when I played basketball and I was called Thanksgiving, I would bring the stuffing. So I just stuff everybody that was trying to do three-pointers and stuff. That was like my only good move. I couldn't shoot for shit. I couldn't dribble. Like hand-eye coordination was shot. But if you needed someone to block somebody, I was there. I was
Yeah, you have a role. You're a role player.
That was the only role I had. In terms of childhood interests and stuff, I really did love movies. I was a big movie head. But my big interest that kind of like led into adulthood, which there was a time where I was like super insecure about it and I was trying to hide it. But like now I'm like, what the hell? Like it's what I am. I am a big like action figure person. Like I think it's called, I like to call it interactive art. You know like what an action figure is, right? Compared to
Yeah,
a doll,
I had many as a kid, and probably
right.
still some around.
Oh, how could you not? They're so much fun. I consider it like interactive art because they're like little pieces of like they're little statues essentially, but you get to put your own impression on it. For you get to move it around and manipulate it in any which way you want, and it's an art piece. I don't know. I just find there's something like fascinating to that. It's also very addictive, and I wouldn't recommend it because it's very expensive. It's a very expensive hobby, but I can't shake it. So.
I was going to ask, aren't these action figures worth more when there's still in the package, and you're describing using them as?
Please don't say that to me, Adam. It hurts me when I hear people, because it's true. Yes, once you take it out of the package, it diminishes the value considerably. But I don't know. I just have that like that kid that wants to watch the supermarket sweep of Toys R Us. It's that urge to just rip it open and just play with the thing. Yeah, it does diminish the value. But I don't know. There's a joy to just like handling the thing. I don't know how to describe it. But yes, I've lost a lot of money in the process.
Yeah, I want to ask about like your favorite action figures and that whole world. But like kind of just I'm also curious. Have you ever like done creative projects involving the action figures, like doing YouTube content about them, or like dive more into that community, or in your act, or making animation movies? Like, have you ever like done any of that stuff or thought about that?
I've dabbled in the idea of doing like stop motion, but I am a big advocate for this one like Facebook, Instagram group called Articulated Comic Book Art, where they take a certain action figure, like here, it's like a Spider-Man right here. The audience can't see it, but you can see it. It's pretty neat. But it basically you can recreate an image from a comic book using action figures. So it's like it is an art form in a way of like them posing it just like the artist drew it, and then posing it and framing it and etc. Just as intended, and it makes like it's art. It really looks like it came from a comic book to life. So I'm a big advocate for that, but I'm not a photographer by any means. I have no visual eye in that capacity. So I've never actually dabbled in that, but I'm a big fan of just reading them and watching them. But in terms of putting in my acts, there was one bit I did with my buddy, Alexander Massidi. He's not a comedian, but he's an actor. And he joined me in on this one bit I did where we were basically like hardcore action figure advocates that brought out this one action figure of a Ninja Turtle or something. And the whole idea was that there was mint in box. And it's like you were saying, like mint in box, it's like pristine. It's like worth X amount of dollars. And then the bit is he opens it up and he takes it out, and I freak the fuck out, like on stage. And I try to choke him out because he literally ruined the value of this one thing. And it's kind of like this weird, like cult. I try to mix like this cult nature to action figures. It didn't land well. It was one of the worst bits I've ever created.
That sounds good though. I like that. It sounds good on paper.
Thank you.
I don't know.
I mean,
the execution?
The execution was fine. I guess I'm a little neurotic. We did it once, and I had him like walk around. It was in the clubhouse in Los Feliz. I had him like take the figure and walk around the audience and show it to them. Like,
dude, was this the show I was at? Was this the show I was at? Because this sounds familiar. This sounds.
You might have been. It was that impression-ish. And then at the end, I realized he like breaks it. I forget if he breaks it or he opens it up. I think he opens it up and breaks it, right? Like quote unquote breaks it. And then I just freak out and then I choke him to death. I forget how it ended. I remember ending not well because like I didn't really have a cap for it, but I thought it was a funny idea to mix cult and like a weird hobby like action figure collecting together.
I think that's great. I think you should keep pursuing this. I mean, what the hell do I know? I don't know anything about anything, but I feel like you need to figure out a way to like switch the universe around so you're the one benefiting from your obsession with the action figures and interest in them and churning out creative content, because I think there's something there in that community. As like you could talk more about if you dove into it. Do you know those guys who are the people who do that bring the action figures to life channel or whatever? Do you know them? Who are they?
I know of them. Like, I'm pretty well versed in who they are. I don't know them personally. I don't know really anybody in LA that does it besides my buddy Alex, because he joined me on this wild idea for a comedy bit. But I mean, if I did ever dive into it, it definitely would make the justification of buying them so much more like acceptable, I guess, because it's a pretty like deep in the wallet kind of expenditure when you buy like 5 of them. Like they're like $20 a pop, so like it's expensive.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a broad range, and I'm sure these collectibles can get very expensive. Which action figures are you into the most? Like, how does it start? Like, tell me more about more specifics about, I guess, your collection and the history of it.
I mean, I started as a kid, and it was something that I always thought was just something as like. I remember there was one time my other brother, not Red, my one brother, when I was like 12 or something, saying like, "Are you still into this stuff?" And I was like, "Yeah, I am still into this stuff. Like, why would I not be? It's amazing."
That's great, man. I like that.
Thank you. Yeah. But it was a matter of just like always having like hand-me-down figures and stuff, and always like playing with them, enjoying them. I was mostly in like the superhero realm. I always like superhero figures and anything of that sort. I had a favorite, which was, I don't know if you remember the video game Earthworm Jim. Are you familiar with Earthworm Jim?
No, maybe.
It was a game on the Genesis, Sega Genesis. It was like
that I'm familiar
with like a little earthworm on a head and in this giant like superhero spacesuit. I remember having that figure, and that was like my pride and joy. I took it around everywhere. And the feature that thing had was like, if you press the button on the back, his head would fly off. And I shot it off in some supermarket, in Jersey, a ShopRite. I don't know if you guys know what ShopRites are, but
yeah, I do.
I lost that sucker. I thought I lost that sucker for like the end of time. Like it was over with. I just had the body. And then maybe like 5-6 years later, we were moving a cabinet in our kitchen, and lo and behold, it was there. For some reason, my mind thought I shot it in a supermarket, or I did. I must have retrieved it and then shot it again in the house. And just, I guess my mind being weird, just thought it was elsewhere.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Feeling. It was the greatest feeling to find that sucker. But that was like my favorite toy at the time. But yeah, no, it's just like random stuff I'm into, like movies and superheroes and comic books, anything of the sort. I really do enjoy it.
Is that just you?
About action figures? I know.
No, is that all the movies and comic books and action figures? Well, you said you did get some hand-me-downs, but the passion for it is something that is stronger in you than your brothers or the rest of your.
Oh, for sure,
and your parents and all that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're not. My mom was supportive. My mom's very supportive of it. She was very. She would help me go to like Toys R Us all the time and do Toys R Us runs if there was a certain figure I was looking for. But I was always like a bit ashamed of it because like it brought a form of clutter to the house, which sure, like I would just leave them around everywhere. But it was like a form of resentment because they were always around. Like my figures are always around, so it's always causing a mess. So it led me to think like, oh, I should probably stop doing this. / I was getting older. But you know, I just kind of got over that and it's like, whatever, dude.
Yeah, everybody, that's great. No, I need to be more like that myself and just like give a fuck.
Like that?
Do I have
like
some
hobby that you feel like ashamed or that it's not cool to like anymore, etc., whatever that may be?
No, I wouldn't say that. I don't know. Maybe, I guess not. There's things I'm certainly
super cool.
No, there's certainly things I'm ashamed of, though. I will say that, but I don't know if they're my hobbies. That's a whole nother conversation.
Fair. Yeah, no, I just I think it's great, and I also love doing stuff with my hands. I feel like just having one around and just like putzing with it when you're watching TV or you're trying to think of something to write, like anything. It's just something to do with your hands. You know how they have like those fidget spinners and those fidget cubes? Like that's my equivalent to a fidget cube. Is just having an action figure in hand and just posing it around while I'm thinking of shit.
Yeah, I feel like I'm trying to like put all the pieces together in my head. As like I'm like, this kid's like the youngest of like five kids.
5, yeah.
Five, the youngest of 5. he probably needs an escape from all the chaos. So he dives into this world of
sure.
heroes and escapism, and also creativity, where you can express yourself with the figures and all that. Like, am I on the right track here with my my
honestly, I don't
analysis?
need a shrink ever again because you just figured me out.
Yeah, perfect.
You figured me out.
And I don't charge. I don't charge either.
Thank God. Because I don't have any insurance right now. But yeah, no, that's basically it. It was just I guess a form of escape. Being the baby, it kind of just like became a thing I did. And I don't know if I would pursue it in comedy any further than that one bit, but I do love it. And it's art. It's interactive art. That's the one thing I want to press on to people is consider action figures as interactive art.
I'm going to tell people this if it ever comes up in conversation.
It'll blow their minds, dude. I don't know how it'll come up in conversation ever.
I'll just bring it up. I'll bring it up. I'll try to remember to bring it up to at least someone randomly in the near future. Right. If I ever see another person in person again. No, we will. It's slowly. We'll get there. But what about like middle school and whatnot? Were you into academics or what else? You said sports a little bit, basketball. Like, tell me more about your journey.
Yeah, sure. So middle school, I did play basketball purely because I should start with from like pre-K to 8th grade. I was in a Catholic school, like a private Catholic school, and it wasn't a matter of like, well, my parents are very religious. My whole family is fairly religious, but it was a matter of that my mom was a pre-K aide at that school, so we got in for free. So essentially a free ride to go to these private schools, which honestly are very expensive. I don't know how. Like, I lived in a pretty affluent area. We're the one not affluent dot in this town of affluency, if that's even a word. So we went to this Catholic school for about 8-9 years each, and because of that, when we got into middle school, every boy in my class was in basketball. Like, that was the only team we had, was a basketball group. And I just did it because like it was what everyone else was doing. In terms of schooling, I was a good student. I would get nervous a lot. Like I would freak out over every exam. Like I did fine no matter what. Like I realized in hindsight, like I didn't really need to stress as much as I did, especially for like stupid classes that led to nothing. Like they don't pertain to actual life in any means. But I was pretty good in school, but I was just very nervous all the time. I did well socially. I was a pretty social kid. I like to think that I was funny back then. But once I got into high school though, so the issue was elementary to middle was all the same classmates because it was all a Catholic school. But once it got to high school, that was the giant jump for me because everybody went to like some Catholic high school. It was like Bergen Academy, Bergen High School or whatever. Don Bosco, whatever the Catholic schools were at the time. But I jumped to the public high school that if I went to a public middle school, which I lived diagonally from this public high school, if I just went there, it would have been hard on me from like 5th grade, but it would have been smooth sailing. I would have known everybody into high school. It would have been great. But to drop myself like this brainwash, quote, unquote, I'm not throwing this to my parents after saying this, but Catholic school brainwashed to a public high school, boy, oh boy, that was such a hard hurdle. Like, not only did they mess us up academically, because they held us back in terms of math and history. Like, I had to double up my freshman year in just terms of math just to get on the level that everybody else was at, because the Catholic school had no regulation of what kids should be learning at X age, right? So it was a big hurdle for that, but it was a real big hurdle to deal with a bunch of new kids that all knew each other. And I was just going in just like fresh, just like straight from the Catholic school. But I did get my footing maybe like halfway through. And I'm happy to say, like, I think I made friends with everybody in this school. It was about a class of 300 or so. And I knew everybody to a certain extent. And I was cool with everybody. Like, I was very friendly. I got along with anyone I tried to meet. I never really got bullied, besides this one kid named Bo. And there's never a good kid named Bo. I'm going to hold that to truth. There's never a good kid named Bo. Sorry if you know anybody named Bo, and he's a good guy. I'm sure he's a great guy. But
fuck him. Fuck all Bo's.
Yeah,
no, I like Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson.
I don't know Bo Jackson. I know Bo Burnham, obviously. Bo
Yeah.
Burnham's cool. But yeah, no, I kind of leveled out, and I really enjoyed high school. And a lot of people like say nay to high school and they regretted it and they don't want to go back. I didn't mind it. Like if I could go back to one random day in high school and just relive it, I'd have a good time, I think. I hope.
For me, it depends on the day. Like if there's like a test that I'm not ready for, I don't want to go back that day. But if it's senior year where I'm like have like a bunch of free periods and not really taking hard classes, I'll go there for maybe a little bit.
Right.
Check it out.
Favorite subject back then?
Favorite subject?
Yeah.
I guess like media arts. If we're gonna arts, we did have a media program in our high school, and that was, I guess, it had an impact on me for sure.
Wow.
But I liked it. Yeah, I didn't really mind school. I didn't like homework or tests. Like I didn't mind going there. I would like to go a little later and leave a little earlier. That's fine too. But like I'll listen to the teacher talk about history or like I didn't really mind it that much. But tests, I don't want to work. Don't ask me to work.
Yeah, and it was
want to hang out.
I just want to chill, dude.
Right, exactly.
The thing with like school in general, which being so far removed from it, I'm realizing basically any form of education that we got was just memorization.
Right.
Education is not memorization. Like it literally went one ear out the other, as everybody says. High school and college, I don't remember a lick of what I actually took a test on.
Don't get me started on the educational system. We'll continue this conversation off the broadcast.
Part two will just be purely about scholastic.
Go down that rabbit hole. Why were you nervous though about your grades? And is it just sort of like this, like sort of you think there's pressure because just to get to the next phase, I got to go to college, I got to do something, or is it your parents, or is it like something to live up to? Where did that come from?
That's a great question. I just think I have this anxiety in me. So here's like a really odd fact that I know sounds like it's not relevant, but it is kind of relevant. There was one day, I think it was around 2004, because I remember Shrek 2 was coming out. And I know dates based off movies that come out. It's a very weird superpower I have. But I remember it was one day in like May 2004, and I was in the back seat of my mom's car, and we were waiting to pick up my brother from some after-school activity he had. And he came back, and he had like this cherry Coke in his hand, and it was an empty bottle. And my mom was like, "Oh, you didn't save any for me." And my brother was like, "Oh, I didn't know you wanted any." Like, it was just a basic conversation. Like, she just was trying to play a joke, like playing the guilt trip. Like, "Oh, I thought I wanted some," but he's like, "No, I don't want." But that put something in my head where I felt so nervous about just like it was a weird power of consideration that weighed over me. I had to be considerate of everybody in my social circle, everybody in my world. So by doing so, I was just nervous about a lot of shit. Like, I guess it was like nerves of like impressing my parents or just pleasing my parents, not impressing them, because I could not impress them for the life of me.
Yeah.
It was just this weird thing where like I always had to be considerate of others, which sounds like it's a great thing. Like, to be considerate it's really nice to do that. But you can be so considerate at a fault that will just lead you down this like anxiety hole.
Right. It can be too much and not like I don't know what's the word I was searching for. You're like you seem like a pretty nice person though.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate
that. And maybe you're like me, not on steroids in terms of like the trying.
You seem pretty nice.
Yeah, but in terms of like I guess trying to be a people pleaser or something like that. But like you're me on like an over the counter steroid, maybe.
Oh man, you have to get a doctor's prescription for me then. Oh.
No, over the counter. You're over the counter. Yeah, you're not.
I could just pop me any day you want. It'll be on me. Yeah. So I think that led into my scholastic anxiety, if you will. I don't know. I just got anxious over a lot of stuff. I still have anxiety, but I never got treated for it. I've always wanted to go see someone, but And I always think everyone should. I really think everyone has something that they need to express or get off their chest or discover about themselves. And I think therapy is a great way to do it. I just never done it. Like, it's something I know is an asset. I just haven't done it.
I think there's value at the very least in talking to someone who isn't like your mom, your friend, or a podcast host. I will say that. I will say that.
You are my therapist right now. I hope you know that.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm here. I'm here for you, man. What about like watching movies and comedy? I know the action figure thing is a continued thing, but what about were you into stand up at that point in high school? Were you watching?
I got up into stand up. I don't think I ever got really into stand up. Like, I like a lot of stand ups, but I don't think there was a moment where I was like, oh, stand up comedy is my thing. Like, I don't even consider myself a stand up comedian because, like, I like doing characters.
Yeah.
Bits. I'm a bit guy. Stand up I kind of struggle with because I guess it's a matter of me not finding my own self. I'm still in that age of discovery. I hope this therapy session will bring me out of that.
But, we all are, my friend.
But no, but there's an honesty to stand up comedy, like to true like stand up comedy. Like, I'm going up as myself. I'm going up as Jason, talking about whatever subjects I want to talk about. For me, like, I find this comfort in just talking about something, but as a comedian, like as a character, because I have a point to say, but I can't gear it in my words yet. It's a character's words. Like, it's what I feel, but it's not me saying it. It's
you got to do what you love, man, and be who you are and all that stuff. So did you love? I'm guessing you watch like SNL or something like that. Were you into?
For sure. Oh, sorry, I derailed the question. Yeah, no.
You did.
Big. SNL was a huge influence. I'm a big Andy Kaufmann fan. He was a big influence in terms of like the idea of playing on somebody, like pulling the wool over someone's eyes. I think is hilarious. You know Andy Kaufmann, right?
Yeah, and I could see that in you because I've seen you at least perform once or twice or three times, and I remember you like doing bits where you like go into the audience and interact with the audience, and it's it's beyond just, you know, being a character on a stage. There's walls being broken down and interaction and you know, a whole, you know, style that, you know, that you and Andy, you know, of course, you know, had as well.
Very, very sweet of you to even remember that. It seems like ages ago that I was even on a stage.
You're like a waiter, so yeah, like a waiter going around like during the show.
Bit. Yeah. So like with Fresh Fish, if I wasn't on, I was doing like a character just to give people drinks and stuff. And the waiter was a popular one. Oh, right. Yeah, that's a very good memory. But yeah, Andy Kaufman, I guess, kind of plays a role in all that because I just like the idea of convincing someone. Like, I like the idea of I actually, this is another problem of mine. And here we go on another therapy session. I'm like this pathological liar, not to the detriment of anybody. I would never lie to hurt anyone, but just to make a joke. I will pretend that something is existing or something happened just to the point where I can get the ha for myself. And then I'll be like, no, I'm just teasing you. But it's a whole boy cried wolf situation with me.
But you reveal the truth a second later, basically.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I'll hold out just a little bit. Like, I can.
Yeah, again, you're like, that's like, I do the same exact thing because I like to make jokes and be sarcastic and tell lies, but I'm also like honest to the point where it could become debilitating and I can't hide the truth. I'm a bad liar. So, you know, a second later, I'll just tell people just kidding. Not in a Bart Simpson kind of way, but like in a, like, I don't know, nicer way or something like that. Not as like,
it's a problem though, right? Like, I get a kick out. I don't know about you, but I get like a genuine kick out of it. Like, that's what I find funny, but it can lead to a lot of just like distrust issues that like for over nonsense. Like, I'm not joking about anything that's like detrimental to your life. I'm just making a tease, but I think
you're fine. And I've heard other people talk about you want to be around friends and people who keep you on your toes to some degree.
I hope so.
Doesn't that keep your mind sharper and it's more interesting? Doesn't that make life more interesting to be around people who keep you on your toes? Like, if you know someone's thoughts, opinions, what they're going to say all the time, that's kind of like, I don't know. That can be boring. in a sense.
And honesty is way overrated, if you ask me.
Oh, honesty?
So, it's overrated. I'm
Oh,
done
yeah?
with it. I'm done with it.
Oh, yeah.
No. So like, I don't know what the question was. Who influenced me? So Andy Kaufman was like an influence in terms of just my comedic presence, I would say. But yeah.
What about Andy Kaufman bits or work of his was, you enjoy the most or jumps out at you?
Pretty much the whole thing, but his big one with Jerry Lawler, where like he faked the wrestling accident. That because like our house is pretty big on wrestling. Well, I grew up in a wrestling family, so like this was more of a history lesson. It was obviously I wasn't watching him actually do it in real time, but to read about and to see the videos and watching the Jim Carrey movie, the Man on the Moon one, to see him like literally deconstruct the facade that wrestling has created. Because back then people knew it was fake, but like it wasn't that transparent. He created this transparency that like wrestling is a facade, and that's okay to like. That's makes wrestling fun in my opinion. But his whole shtick with having his neck broken by Jerry the King Lawler, and then he had this whole ring of him being the undefeated champion, but he only fought women at the time. Which I don't know about now. I don't know if that's pretty kosher, but
he would have got a lot of heat. That would have been good wrestling term.
Yeah, he would have got a lot of heat nowadays. But like, like the idea that he broke that down and his I love him so much. I'm totally forgetting the guy's name. His character that he did with Bob Zamuda, he would create this dude, and they would pull up this whole facade that it wasn't him. And he was this, the whole shtick is that he's this lousy lounge singer that when he was on Taxi, he would have this character come into the behind the scenes and mess up the entire set. And he was like, no, it wasn't me. And like, I didn't do it. It was the other guy.
Tony Clifton.
Clifton. Yeah.
Tony Clifton.
That's it. His Tony Clifton facade is freaking genius to me. Cause like the idea of, he would pull the wool over a lot of the producers' eyes. He would try to F up a lot of the producers' like goals or whatever they're trying to do for that specific episode or whatever, to a point where he would lose his job. Like he hated Taxi so much.
He didn't like being a sitcom actor, from what I gather. No, I remember hearing this. Yeah,
he hated it. I'm not gonna speak like I know the dude, but he really didn't like doing it, and it was basically a mechanic for him to do his special. He had like 2 or 3 specials that came out of just having his role on Taxi, because he had all that clout that Taxi gave him. He didn't appreciate Taxi, and he did the voice. He did the foreign man voice that people loved, but he despised after a while, especially if you keep doing the same character, you're bound to despise it. But he would mess with just the producers and the showrunners on a day-to-day basis because he could. And I don't know, he's just so good. He's just his idea of like the facade that he puts on and like the whole idea of the joke on everybody else I just think it's great. It's revolutionary.
Yeah, and I'm curious. I'm guessing you've seen the movie about him with Jim Carrey, Man on the Moon. Milos Forman, right? I think directed that.
Yeah, Milos. Yeah.
How accurate was everything in that? I mean, I'm not that saying you're the expert, but like I think it was for the most part told the general story of Andy Kaufman and definitely highlighted a lot of the hijinks we're talking about. That the wrestling stuff, the character stuff, the not liking being a sitcom actor stuff, like the wanting to be an artist that fucked with everyone, you know, stuff.
It was very accurate. I mean, they kind of crunched down time-wise. Like the timeline had to be like crunched a bit just to fit the movie spectrum. But his writing partner, his good writing partner, Bob Zamuda, who also did the Tony Clifton thing when it wasn't him, he gave a lot of notes, and it was based off a book that he wrote about Kaufman, and it was pretty faithful. I mean, they had to make a little few. I couldn't tell you offhand what choices they made to like just skewer it. I think it was like when he met his agent. That was not actually how it happened, or like just small little things to create a through line of a story. But overall, it was very faithful. And then there's a whole speculation and controversy about Jim Carrey saying that Kaufman kind of embodied him. Like the soul of Andy Kaufman just kind of consumed Carrey when he was on set. So it gave him the right to act like a dick when he was backstage, because Jim Carrey would do a lot of hijinks too in light of Andy Kaufman, which is cool and all, but it caused a lot of people issues that didn't need to be caused while making the movie. And he blamed it on like, oh, Kaufman's ghost took over me. And there's like a documentary about that on Netflix about the making of Man on the Moon. So a lot of people are saying, is Jim Carrey a dick? Is Jim Carrey being like method?
An artist, yeah.
Yeah, is he being method, or is he being like just super, he's just being super wacky about it? I don't know. Who am I to say? It made for an interesting movie, so I can't really deny it. And it was my gateway into Andy Kaufman. So I'm appreciative that it exists. But yeah, I know. Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I have a theory. I would say that, or not a theory, but a philosophy, I guess, is that, I think that Jim Carrey would have done still an amazing performance and a great job without being a dick. If he was being a dick, without being a dick, he would have been fine. He's super talented, focused, hardworking dude. He didn't need to be a dick. But at the same time, to say that 100% it did not elevate his performance by being a dick, I don't know that for a fact. Maybe being a dick helped him. But I think he could have been if he did 100 out of 100 being a dick, just do 98 out of 100 and not be a dick. That's kind of like
go the whole mile there.
Yeah,
that's a great point. Who's to say? In another world, who's to say if his antics actually elevated his performance or not? Like you said, I think he would have been fine not doing it. Like, I don't know what him causing hardship on the crew did to the movie. If anything, it made the movie less better, because like they're just so frustrated with him that they can't focus on their actual work. But
that could be a problem. You know what you got to do? You got to be a dick to a different person every day on set, so no one gets sick of it.
Yes, balance it out, even it out.
Right, exactly.
Well, there's what about 60 days of shooting? You can get everybody.
I was going to ask about going through high school and moving into your junior, senior year, whatever. Where did you think your life would be going? What were you going to study, do, pursue? Where were we at with your future?
I was nowhere. Wait, in terms of talking about high school here?
Yeah, like what were your plans for like junior, senior year? What were you thinking you'd do when you were 20, 21? Like, was it college? Was it to work or what?
It was not college. That was purely a parent's choice. I didn't really see the point of college. Like in hindsight, I think the skills that I've learned socially, not academically, I've gained, and the people I've met, and I think I met the love of my life in college, but we don't have to talk about that. But,
that's great.
Right?
That's great, man.
But the schooling aspect, I really didn't have any perspective or anything gained from that. But my goals were basically just to like coast. I didn't want it. Like I wanted to move out here as soon as possible, but I had to go to college. So I had to go to college, but it had to be a state school. So I went to Rutgers University. I don't know if you know it. It's a known school. I'm happy it's a known school, but didn't really get anything from it. I took human resource management master, a major. I definitely didn't get my master's. Ooh, I'm not gonna spend that money. But I just did that because it was an easy degree. It was on the path of all the credits that I had. I took improv in college, so I guess that was a plus. I did do improv in college, so that geared me more towards wanting to do it. But I already knew I wanted to do comedy or just performing in general, aside from that. But that was some great skill that I learned there. I met a lot of good people through the improv. But yeah, basically college, it was just waiting to leave, basically. Yeah.
You're saying that, the improv and the wanting to move to LA. When did that all kind of happen you deciding that you wanted to be a performer and pursue that? Was like early on in your college life or late high school? When did that sort of click for you?
It clicked for me in high school, and this is like a really low budget performance here, but props to the Franklin Lakes Public Library. They would do this thing called the Fright Night each Halloween. They stopped doing it years back, but each Halloween they would have this like performance, this interactive tour experience through the library to promote kids to read and stuff. But each room you'd go into, like there would be a tour guide. They bring a bunch of kids into different rooms. I used to work in a library, by the way. I used to work there from high school to right before I left to LA. I used to work in a library. They would have this thing called Fright Night, and each year we'd have all these performances, and each room you were in, you were a different scene. And there was one year I was Robin from Batman and Robin. I was Indiana Jones one time. I was some kid from Harry Potter. I was Igor from Frankenstein.
Seeds planted.
It was truly. Yeah. No, that was the moment I really loved it, because like at first I was like, why am I doing this? It's just like, it's a nonsense. It's the script's nonsense, et cetera, et cetera. Even though the person who wrote it was fun. But it came down to like, cause we had to do like 5 or 6 performances a night for that one show. And by like the third one, like I was hooked. Like I couldn't wait for the next group of kids to come in, just do like just some random bit to tell them to read. But it was just a lot of fun. And I think I gained a lot from it. That was the moment I realized I do like doing characters, and I just like being in front of a group and just doing this, being this other character to somebody and just letting them have fun with it, enjoying it. And I don't know, it sparked a flame in me. So
yeah, you gained those insights about yourself. Is what I was going to say. That's what you gained, those insights about yourself. That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah. Truly, that was, I think the Fright Night shows really made me really want to do it. And then college, I did improv, the lows and highs of the improv, because like I'm not the biggest fan of improv. I props to improv, but that was also a step towards wanting to do it. But it was really the library show, that made me want to truly get into performing. As small scale as it was super helpful and super insightful.
Great. Yeah, that's cool. It's cool to hear about your journey. And I talked to other comics and other people who are in other professions, but especially comics, when they first try it out, or even at the first open mic or the first time that bit really hits, then they're like, oh, this is what I want to do. I'm in the right place here. This is me. And that kind of sounds like that's what you're describing. Even back when at that theater, like something felt right. And that's cool, because I don't think everyone always gets that in their lives. Like it has those moments where you realize that this is me. You feel like you're more closest to your true self. Tell me about the LA journey.
Oh, so the LA journey, I got to give props to my brother Red here. So he moved to Texas about 3 years prior to me moving to LA. And he moved the March 2017, and I graduated May 2017. And he kept pushing me, go to LA. I wanted to go. Like that was never down in my mind. I wanted to go, but I didn't want to go immediately after graduating. But he kept pushing me to go, do it.
He was in Texas at the time, you said?
He was in Texas until March 2017. He moved from Austin to LA March 2017, and then I graduated in May, and he kept pushing me like.
I see. He was there already. Yeah.
Yeah, about 5-6 months he was there. Yeah. And he kept pushing me. And then by September, I was like, okay, I'll do it. Like I agreed to do it by May, and then I had to get all my ducks in order before I moved. But boy, oh boy, that transition was tough, dude. It was, it was really tough. And multiple times I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go back. Like this isn't worth it. And not even a matter of like career oriented. It was my first time, because again with college, I don't think college groomed me for independency at all, because the idea of getting free food at college, because you had the dining hall and stuff, was not free, but the idea of just meals at the ready, and then you going into the real world where like you got fend for yourself, it was very scary. And I lived in a living room for a good year, actually. I love the roommates. The roommates are great, but I lived with my brother and another roommate at the time. But I lived in the living room because my rent was so low. It was only like $300 a month to live in the living room. And it was just extremely, extremely tough. I don't know the moment I really enjoyed being here, but it definitely switched. Like I don't see myself moving back anytime soon. I'm very happy, very comfortable. I'm unemployed right now, but that's just because COVID. But in terms of just comfortability, I think it took maybe 8 months to really feel like, okay, I can do this. But there were times there where I was like, I got to go back. But I'm glad I persevered. I'm really glad I persevered. The clubhouse
cool.
actually helped with that. Without the clubhouse, going to the clubhouse every other day or so really supplanted like a habitualness to just working the scene and trying.
Yeah, it's a comedy venue in the Hollywood area. Is that what you would call it? A comedy venue? It's a comedy venue. It's
it's like a black box theater. Stages. Yeah. They would have free shows, and the genius was there's free beer. Every show you went to, there's free beer, so I kept coming back. It was just having that consistency and like that strive by going to a place like that really did make me feel like, okay, I can do this. I'm happy living here. And then maybe 8 months in, I wouldn't have looked back. But if I gave in to my initial fear, I probably would have moved back and been miserable and had a desk job just doing monotony over and over and over again. So I'm very grateful I kind of pushed through that.
That's great. It's funny how you keep. It's almost like whatever you're never prepared for the next thing in your life. It's kind of funny. You're like, I went to this Catholic school, and then high school's like, what the fuck is going on? I went to college, and I had all these meals, and then I had to figure out how to cook. You're never prepared for the next step. But I have a feeling you're. What do you mean? No, I was going to say I think you're on the right path or whatever, and it seems like you're more than ever. You know.
Thank you so much.
Seems like it to me.
You validated so many of my frustrations. It's true. It's true. I really didn't have a plan. I still don't have a plan. I don't know what I'm going to do. Currently right now, if we're talking about like current stuff, COVID happened and that put like any on-show stuff on pause, but it kind of opened up a new door. Because speaking of Red again, we started doing maybe 3-4 months ago, a Instagram show called Two Cute Brothers, where we do each week we do a 30-minute show where we find 3 cute things in the news and we draw. And I don't have my book on me. I actually do. No, I don't. I don't have the book on me. We do 3 cute things in the news, and then we draw those 3 our interpretations of those 3 news articles. And it's become a thing now. Like now we're going to be on Twitch. We're going to be with Pack Theater on a Twitch.
That's great.
Show. We're very excited about it. It's very fun. I recommend it. 7 p.m. Pacific time on Twitch, Pack Theater. Check it out. Two Cute Brothers. That's a plug right there.
There you go.
There you go. But that alone, like my brother and I haven't really done anything together truly in terms of the comedic scene. Like I'd help him with projects. Like he created a feature film 2 years ago, and I helped him with that. But I was more behind the scenes. I was in a scene or two, but it was a matter of me just like helping out. And I was very grateful to help out. Like it was a great experience, but like to do something where we're like in tandem, I think we finally found our footing in terms of like just being like brothers in the sense that in every aspect, like we're brothers as like obviously siblings, but like now we're comedic brothers, and I think that's just like a wonderful thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's definitely a wonderful thing.
Thanks.
That's cool.
Yeah, I really enjoy it.
Check that out.
Yeah, please do. I was hesitant at first, but with COVID and all, it just became something that was consistent and made me happy. And it both pushed ourselves to do stuff in a COVID atmosphere. And it's actually looking like it's kind of could be successful. So who knows?
Dude, awesome.
We enjoy it.
That's exciting.
Thanks. Yeah.
When I've been saying over and over again, it's been said to me is that, when you have constraints or these challenges put in front of you, that's, could lead to all sorts of, I guess, opportunities and creative solutions. And, during strange, weird times, and it sounds like you guys are doing something or working on something that you're passionate about. And that's awesome. And bringing you guys together.
That's like the bit. Like, I won't show this in this now because I don't want to get too cushy or too mushy. But yeah, basically, I find it. The show has become something that now I've grown closer to him. Like I'm close to my brother, but like to do something together like this is something more intimate and just on a level that other siblings won't. Like other siblings don't have with each other, but we have together. Like that's our thing now, and it's just it's really special. It's really sweet.
That is great. And I'm curious, did your mom or your dad or like ever suggest, how come you don't work on something with your brother? And they ask you both those, why don't you work on something with your
Right.
brother? You guys are both in LA. Why don't you work on something with your brother? I gave them Jewish kind of Jewish Long Island accents a little bit, but was that ever a question?
That's right on the money in terms of the accent. We're not Jewish, but very close
Close
in terms of
enough.
film. Very
Yeah.
close. Yeah, no, they would ask that all the time. And I used to co-produce Fresh Fish, and I would get Red on all the time too. But like, not that he needed it; he can get shows on his own. But they would always ask, like, "Have you seen your brother? Have you seen brothers?" Like, yeah, I saw him at the clubhouse maybe once or twice. Like, but now that they're really happy, and they're big fans and advocates for us doing the show. Like, they watch every week. They're not our only audience. They are.
That's great.
They're not our only audience. But yeah, no, it is like it's a really cool thing that we have something that we can present to our family. Like, this is something that we did together.
Very cool.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's great. It's very positive.
Sweet. Well, I think we covered a lot for sure. We covered New Jersey and the Housewives of Beverly Shore, and
That's it.
yeah, I made that up. And action figures and high school, Andy Kaufmann, college, LA. Anything else we should talk about? Otherwise, I'll give you the floor to plug anything else you might be working on if you want to bring that up, or give people how to follow your show and find you. And I'll let you do.
First off, I'm very super grateful to even do this. This is the first time I've ever been interviewed in any capacity.
Really?
So, I hope I didn't F it up anyway.
Nah, man, you're great. You make my job easy. I'm surprised. It sounds like
you're a great interviewer. Like
oh, thank you. I don't. I just say. So what happened next? That's kind of my thing. You know? If you think so,
you do it with such ease, Adam. You do it with such ease. I was hoping to bring up Kanye West, but that never came to fruition. So we will not bring up Kanye West at all.
You just did.
I just did. So there's the Kanye drop. No, I'm just super grateful to do this. This was wonderful. I hope I didn't slur too much. I had 2 beers before this to loosen up, and I think I got 2 loose.
You good. You good.
I'm good. I'm working on 2 Cute Brothers with Red, and that's now on Twitch at the Pack Theater. So twitch.com/Pack Theater, PACK. We're doing 2 Cute Brothers every Tuesday at 7 p.m. PST, 10 p.m. EST. I'm doing another show with my friend Caitlin, who lives on the East Coast in Jersey, called Doing It Live. And that's on Instagram every Thursday we haven't found official time yet, but I think we're doing 6:30 p.m. PST, 9:30 EST. And that's like a show where we do crafting, where we take a word generator, like it's an adjective and a noun, and we put the word generator in, and whatever that comes out, whatever it spews out, we do a Play-Doh creation of said item or whatever it is. And then we do haikus while we're making it. And at the very end, we do a song about that theme. We're like 3 episodes in. We're still working out little kinks, but it's really great. I'm really enjoying it. She's a great partner. And other than that, I'm working with my housemates, who I failed to mention, but David McKee, Seth Ward Allison, Kyle Poro, Stephanie Fedorov, Seth Hobbs, and Mark Ranucci. Oh my goodness, almost messed up his last name. All great people, and we've been working on a lot of projects here. Thunderdome Productions is what we call it. We do a lot of drag shows because David is a drag queen here, so we've been doing a lot of drag shows. My name is Jason Redlitz. I'm sorry, I'm just going to tell you all information about me.
Do it.
My Instagram is at TurnYourJasoff, TurnUrJasoff, like Jason Jasoff. You flip a switch. It's a dumb joke. And you can also follow 2 Cute Brothers at 2 Cute Brothers on Instagram. So that's my plug, Adam. That's my plug.
Awesome all around. Like, you are pursuing all the things that you should be pursuing. Just hearing you describe these various projects, I'm like, yeah, that's so him. That's great for him. I could see why he would be excited about this. I could see how this is going to be successful. Like, you're doing it, man. Very exciting.
Wow, dude, thank you so much.
I'm looking forward to. You know what? The Instagram. When you say live on Instagram, is it Instagram Live and then it's on their channel? Are back episodes available or no?
Yeah. So great question. So 2 Cute Brothers has its own Instagram, and we just moved to Twitch this past week for the Pack Theater. We used to be an Instagram show, so all our previous episodes are on Instagram at 2 Cute Brothers. And then the new ones are going to be on Twitch. Doing it live is actually on my Instagram until we make a Instagram for the show. And we only did 2 or 3 so far, and those are back ended, so you can look them up on my account. But we hope to have
follow him.
Yeah, follow me. Turn your Jace off. Enjoy yourself.
There you go.
But Adam, thank you so much. This is incredible. I feel weird talking about myself for like a good hour, but
no, you're natural, my friend.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
About myself. What can I say?
Most people do. Most people do. It's everyone's favorite subject. Believe me.
And that's amen. Thank you, Adam. This was incredible.
Oh, you got it. Have a good night too.
You too. Thank you so much.
Later.
Peace.
So there you have it. My conversation with Jason Redlitz. I again thank him for his time. What a nice guy. I'm looking forward to digging into more of his content, and hopefully we'll get to see him and maybe even his brother Red perform live sometime soon. But seriously, action figure collecting is interactive art. Got it. I shall do my part to remind the world of this, or educate them about it. But anyway, for everything about this show, of course, head to peoplewelovepodcast.com. That's at People We Love Podcast on Instagram. And I am at Adam Choid on Instagram and Twitter. And I think that's about all I got for today. I appreciate you guys listening. Thanks as always. Let's talk soon. Peace.